Okay, so I will get started because obviously I am respectful of your time and obviously our times as well. And if anybody is joining in the meantime, that's no problem, or they might want recordings, which is fine as well. So I just wanted to say hello again. Good afternoon. My name is Andrea Reger, and thank you so much for joining this afternoon. How to overcome self-doubt and build courage to become courageous, calm, content, and confident in 2024. So I've been doing online master classes over the past 2 years, every other month, approximately as an average. And this is just a wonderful, exciting opportunity to connect with people who are out there because they either experienced, in the past, self-doubt. Maybe they have been, self-imposter feeling as well, or currently they are in the situation where they are doubting themselves. They are unsure, is it the right thing that they are doing, or what's next, or they just need some clarity and guidance. Or there are people out there as well who might want to get ready and prepared for the time in future when they would be facing with, uncertainty and situation when they need more courage, confidence, and stay balanced and calm in the situation. So I don't know which category you fall into. Just I invite you to take a minute and think about it. What is your intention? Why are you here? Why did you decide to join and listen to this masterclass this afternoon? Is it something that happened in the past and you'd like to get prepared for the future? Is it something you need immediate help with or you want to be ready for the future? And there is just one little slide, one little picture I'd like to show to you because what I'm trying to do and what I will help you today is to show you that there is absolutely a possibility for you to become a bird. And you know what's beautiful about that bird who is sitting at the end of that branch? The bird is sitting there, and the bird, for some reason, never ever gets anxious or afraid of the branch or the tree is breaking down. The bird never ever thinks about the wind. It might be blowing too strong and he would end up or she would end up on the ground or somewhere because the bird trusts his or her own ability to be able to fly, to be able to use her or his own wings when the time comes when the branch might break under her. So that's a beautiful skill. This is a beautiful ability. And you know what? It's not uncommon that most people wouldn't have that. Because I don't know if you watched recently, there is a new Netflix documentary about Robbie Williams. And it was just shocking. I always kind of, suspected and I felt that, just because you're a celebrity, you still have problems, right? But facing this fact and seeing it in a documentary and for him to be so honest about that, that he was on the stage like 200,000 people in front of him and obviously all of his concerts were sold out and yet he was questioning his own ability to be able to entertain, to be able to sing, to be able to just be there for his fans. And that's why he went into rabbit hole of self-medicating himself. So when celebrities, when people who are getting constant feedback, external feedback about how great they are, would still have this self doubt and imposter syndrome all the time that they are tackling with. Like no surprise is that we average people would have that as well. So I just wanted to highlight that if you think that something is wrong with you thinking about my own ability and I won't be able to do this and that, it's absolutely normal way of thinking. The question is, accepting this is a normal thought. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to listen to that little voice in your head? Or you have two options basically. You either trying to trick your little voice in your head, or you're trying to cooperate with that. So by tricking the little voice in your head would be like using as a motivational source. And for example, when your voice says that, oh, you won't be able to do that, you don't have the confidence, or you're not beautiful enough, or you are not skilled enough, then you prove otherwise. So many people start taking courses and in fact keep going on enrolling various like 4-year courses nonstop because they just need to prove their own head, their own voice, their own protective ego that they are worthy. They also can do, for example, dressing up and putting all the external accessories on just to feel the confidence in externally. So by looking at the mirror and they see that, something that makes them feel better, and they will start building the confidence from outside to inside. They also can do another thing, which would be surrounding themselves with people who are giving them a lot of positive feedback. Like Taylor Swift, for example, and there's another documentary on Netflix you can now say and obviously tell that I love watching documentaries on Netflix. Um, she openly said as well and admitted that her success and her motivational source was based on 100% on her fans. That's where she got her energy. That's where her got her motivation and the boost and the adrenaline from. So there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, you need to realize it's coming from outside to inside. What you also can do is turn it around and work with that little voice and treat that little voice in your head as your baby, as your inner child, as somebody who's just there crying and trying to get your attention. So instead of trying to push it away or mask it or suppress it or just fight it, you can just take a deep breath and you can just sit with that and you can just, connect with that voice and try to understand by listening, active listening, what does this voice trying to tell me? And between you and me, it's not comfortable and it's not easy to do it. And most people would be like, oh, no, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah, it can be challenging. It can be unpleasant. And that's why it's so important that you have support around you and you know who you can support you during that process. But facing that voice and sitting with that voice is the first step to heal, is the first step to build something from inside out, which is sustainable and it's lasting. Okay, because you are in charge of that. You are in charge of how and when you create that time and space to sit with that voice and listen to yourself. And having an intention to understand what that voice is coming from, because there is always a hidden a meaning beyond that voice. What is the real message here? What is it that you're trying to either avoid or push it down? And try to dig deeper into the bottom line, into the core. Am I really afraid of showing up to a job interview? Or the real reason is that I don't want to like fail and I don't want to be seen by my family or friends as a failure. And if that's the reason you have a big fear of failure, for example, or embarrassment, or you don't want to be ashamed, let's start working with those emotions and once you address those emotions, you will have no problem showing up to a job interview and fly through it and eventually get your dream job. So it sounds a lot more complicated in terms of time. It takes time and a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. You need to put some work into it. It's not easier to suppress it, like, and forget about that. But the problem won't go away just because you try to forget about it. But when you face it, when you work through it, there is a chance that you will be able to overcome that and eventually clear the path for yourself to become happier, healthier, and a lot more confident. Breathing is another thing. When you have that little voice and keeps telling you that, oh, you won't be able to do that, you're not going to make it anyway, people will laugh at you, or whatever it is, what the voice is telling you. Just breathe. What you can do is connect with your breathing. And once you're connecting yourself with your breathing, you are creating the present moment. You become the person who belongs to the here and now, which is the breathing. And once you bring your attention to the breathing and you take 10 deep breaths in and out, your focus immediately comes back to your body, and your mind, those thoughts could automatically fade away. Okay. And last but not least, when you have those little voices, it's, by the way, smiling. It's just a best medicine for everything, whatever situation you are in. I know sometimes you need to force the smile. I know you can be easily judged and you can easily be ashamed that, oh, you are faking it. But a fake smile could be the first step to a genuine smile. And so many people just don't practice those muscles on most people's faces. Just pay attention to them when you next time go out, just going down. And it's not just gravity, it's just because they don't train those muscles. So you need to start training your own facial muscles by smiling. And you can trick your body, because when you smile, you cannot be anxious or you cannot be doubting yourself, because you have the confidence. Only confident people can smile. And more you smile, more you become confident in your ability to be able to smile for a genuine reason. So these are a very, very easy and simple tactics and tools and methods how you can overcome and how you can work with those little self-doubt thoughts and help yourself actually to to face the challenges that life is going to and will throw in front of you. Um, like, I've had a lot of situations in my life, believe me, as well, when I needed to overcome self-doubt. I'm originally from Hungary. I've been in Ireland for almost 20 years at this stage. And this story goes back in 2007. And I was working as a flight attendant, as a cabin crew for Ryanair. And I was working as part of a crew, and the pilots wanted coffee. So I went into a cockpit and I had a little chat with them. It was always so nice to have a chat with the pilots while we were, flying and see the beautiful view from the cockpit. And they were asking what the story was. And I told them, yeah, I love flying, but eventually I'd like to be teaching cabin crew recruits, because my original background is teaching. My first degree is in teaching. I always loved mentoring and coaching other people, and how nice it would be to teach again the cabin crew recruits. And they're like, yeah, go for it. They have an open position. So I was like, yeah, I read the job description and I don't tick all the boxes because they require at least 1 year experience as provider on board the aircraft. And I only had 6 months at that stage when the job was opened. And they were like, so you decide not even to give yourself a chance, instead of just going for it and let them decide whether or not you have enough experience. Because what they made me realize was that although I didn't have the year experience as a supervisor on board the aircraft, But because of my teaching background and my previous teaching experience, actually, I had years of experience at it together. And I was like, oh, but they will probably have a problem with this and a problem with that. Anyway, I was trying to use all the excuses that I could why I wouldn't be, a good candidate for the instructor job. But then at the end of the day, once we finished the shift that day, the two pilots were so kind to me, so encouraging and so motivating. And obviously they were speaking from their own experience, I guess, as well. They were like, you need to go for it and see what happens. So by the end of the day, they changed my mind. They made me to, have enough courage to put my application in for an instructor job. And I went through a very thorough interview process. And by the time the interview process, the selection process finished, and I was successfully offered a job, a position, a place on a training course. There was a couple of weeks training course to train the trainer training course that I needed to successfully finish in order to become an instructor. So actually, I almost fulfilled that requirement, which was the minimum 1 year experience, because all the timing that needed to happen by the time I could start as an instructor. And if they hadn't encouraged me that day in the cockpit and during the day that I should just put my application in and see what happens, I probably wouldn't have ever went for it by myself. Definitely not for another year or two. And my life would have looked completely different. So it's just so interesting that when we believe we are not good enough, we come up with all the excuses, all the justifications, and sometimes we need a completely impartial, completely neutral person to shed a light on the same subject or object, but from a completely different angle. And that was another understanding, another learning of mine back then, that although I've always had a very nice, supportive family and friends, but sometimes they were just way too close to me to give me an impartial encouragement, motivation, or support. Because, they, whatever decision I have made or I would have made would have impacted them as well differently. So it was always a bit biased, right? That's what I felt. And it's by all love, because obviously they wanted to do the best, but whatever suggestion they made or whatever the encouragement, motivation or advice they gave to me, it was always a little bit through their filter, they missed opportunity, or how would affect their life if I had been successful in that and that, what they thought was the best for me. So it was so interesting learning that sometimes those people who are not as involved in your life could give you, not better advice, but definitely an advice that would benefit you as a person on a long run in a more sustainable way. Another thing, and this is a little bit, an easy example. I went out playing bowling with my family, and it was a group of 20 people, and everybody was so confident that I was confident that I would hit and I would strike all the bowling pins. And everybody around me was like, oh, that's never gonna happen, this pitch is not good. Oh, the floor is uneven. The balls are not curvy enough, and the holes are not great for my fingers. All the excuses, everything and anything was said. And I was like, no, I'm going to strike the 9 pin. And that's what happened. Believe it or not, I was so surprised, but at the same time, I wasn't. Because while everybody else was mourning and giving out and complaining, I kept my eyes on the prize. I visualized the strike, big notification on the screen. I also visualized the feeling, how I will feel when I get that completely, cleared out. And it took me 2 hours. Yeah, it took me some time and a couple of, couple of times I needed to go until I've managed. But I was the only one that night who was able to strike. And that's another thing, that's just confirmed to me that whatever I'm telling myself, whatever way I'm using, visualizing, believing, and feeling that I have already accomplished will take me to where I want to be, as opposed to those who are just sitting, either doing nothing, they give up. That's not going to happen to me, so I don't even bother trying. And the other ones who are trying, but what's the point when you keep just messing and talking and just giving all the negative talk and thoughts. So these are the little stories from my own life, and I have a lot more that I could give you as an example how many times I needed to just put myself together and not to listen to everybody else around me or all the little voice inside my head, and just believe that whatever is the decision that I made, that's the way forward. There's no other way. When I embraced my spiritual journey as well, for example, and left corporate world behind after like 16 years, constantly question myself that I don't belong to spirituality. Like I know nothing about that. But at the same time, like I don't belong corporate either anymore. So I was all the time feeling I'm hanging in between. And I had a lot of fears that I needed to face, that, oh my God, what's gonna happen if I can't, establish myself in that new world, and now I can turn back in the old one. And it was just keep, like going and see so back and forth in my thinking. But deciding that I need to find a balanced way how I can introduce both words into my reality, the way how it supports me, my healing, and also my clients' healing. That was just so empowering. And that's what I've been doing in the past 2 years. I've been helping lots of people to find that balance, to find that inner fire, the inner trust, the inner strength, what's inside them, to be able to face with fears, for example. Because in order to overcome self-doubt, you really need to face your fears. You can't always run away and pretend they are not there. Because you know what? Asking for less problems and asking for less challenges in future, that's not really realistic, isn't it? We know from experience that life gives us a lot of difficulties, a lot of challenges, and it's most likely that's not going to be anything different in the coming years and decades. So what if we would try to learn how to face our fears, how to overcome our fears, and what kind of support we need for that? When I went to Guatemala 2 years ago, like I needed to face a lot of fears, right? Um, Coming from a concrete jungle, from Budapest, capital of Hungary, into the real jungle, rainforest, tropical rainforest, full of spiders and scorpions. Believe me, it wasn't in my comfort zone. It was well outside of my comfort zone. But all my phobias, my fears that, oh, I'm gonna die and I will be attacked, and I'm like, I just needed to face them. Yes, I am terrified, but also yes, I know the way how to overcome that. I had a lot of tools. I had remedies with me. I had people with me. I talked to myself. I did my research. People told me about those species. What are the chances that even if they would bite me, what's my chances to survive? And it was pretty good. So that was my only chance to experience 10 wonderful days in the Guatemalan rainforest and coming back to Ireland and healing myself and my clients using ceremonial cacao as well, adding ceremonial cacao into my toolkit, just made so many people's life like different. I transformed so many lives around me. And I'm not saying that to show off. I'm just saying that just because I didn't give up and I found a way to face what terrified me back then had a ripple effect since then on so many people's life. And this is just something that you need to remember as well. Doing something for yourself is where you need to start. But the ripple effect, how many people will be positively benefiting from and affected by your different choices? Wow, that's just mind blowing. This is just absolutely beyond everything. And you also need courage to make difficult decisions. That was again another difficult decisions coming back from Guatemala and make a decision to resign from my corporate job. It was one of the most difficult decisions in my life, obviously because it was a very well paid job. I'm not going to lie, but I chose to make a difference to my own life and to other people's life in a different way. And that took a lot of courage and a lot of determination and a lot of focus to do. And I had people around me who supported with that. And I also had the tools that I have been since using with my own clients as well. Standing up for myself and creating healthy boundaries also need a lot of courage. And if you keep doubting yourself that, oh, do I have the right to say no? That's actually so minor in my life, but maybe I can say yes again to the other person. No, like standing up for yourself and knowing what works for you, what supports and serves your well-being. It's not selfish. That's where health, healing, and self-love starts. And it's okay. But yes, sometimes do need somebody who's beside you and telling you that was the right thing to do and keep saying yes to yourself. That's what you need to do. Try that. Okay. What else you need self-doubt, self-confidence for and courage is trying new things. So many people are out there who are just give up on trying new things because what the devil, I know. So things won't work. I know this person who I am with or working with or looking after is not good. But at least I know the routine, at least I know the area where I live. I at least know the work colleagues. But why to change, right? It could be worse. How many times you heard that it could be worse? But if you never try new things, you have never, and you will have never experienced other wonderful things in life that are out there and waiting for those who are a bit more adventurous. And when you do that, you also need to accept the fact that you might fail. But you know what? Life is not about having a guarantee of positive experiences followed by positive experiences followed by positive experiences. Life is about having an experience. Whether it's good or bad, nobody's going to guarantee that. But if you don't live your life, if you don't take chances, if you don't try out new things, you're never going to make any experiences. So I'm just wondering, like, and it makes me so sad that there are so many people out there who basically die at age of 20, 30, and then they wait another 50, 60, 70, 80 years to be buried. But they just not there anymore. And it's so sad. And I know it's not you, and I know it's not those people who are interested in how, you can change things around. And this is absolutely something that I appreciated. Um, you also need courage to speak up against injustice. And, I know you know as well as I do that there are a lot of injustices in the world these days. And there's a lot of opportunity where you can use your skills And you don't need to think about the big words. You can think about in your immediate small community, even within the family or in your social group, anywhere and anytime when you feel that something needs to be said, that's an opportunity for you to be the one who says, and it takes courage to do. And you also need courage to deal with different life adversity when illness is coming into the picture. Eventually, people around us, some of them will get ill. We can't avoid that, right? Um, any loss, um, any griefs, like we can grieve our loved ones, but we can like, yeah, somebody's death, but we also can grieve after divorce or separation or losing a job. Or you know what? Sometimes I feel we need to grieve when we move on in our life and we turn, a different age and saying goodbye to our past, our youth, our social life that was so active a couple of years ago, and now it's not because we have a different settings, maybe family and so on. When you move countries or you move houses, this is all like closing things up, grieving, showing emotions, and see how you can work with that, how you can move on from that. And you need courage for that, and most people really need support with that as well. So you see, this is just the tip of the iceberg, what we need help with or what we need courage for. And how many times life just shows an opportunity to question ourselves and adopt. So it's actually a miracle on its own that we are able to identify that self-doubt is a thing and we we would love to get some help with. So let me tell you how I can help, how I have helped my clients to overcome self-doubt and build the courage and the confidence in their life. So first of all, in the past 2 years, I have worked with 4 private clients, and all 4 people's life changed drastically. In addition to those 4 people who worked one-on-one with me, I also supported and trained over 30 people. So I work with them over 3 to 4 months while they were training themselves up and participating in a cacao facilitator course. And watching and witnessing and supporting those people's journey is just a wonderful present that I can do. And I'm so happy that I'm in a position to share my knowledge, my experience, and my toolkit with those people. So, first of all, I give them the empowerment. Like so many times in our life, we feel that we are powerless. Like people can do, the government can do, the world can do with us whatever they want. But feeling that the power is in your hands, this is just an amazing feeling, but also very scary. Oh, how do you mean that I need to decide? How do you mean that I have to be responsible for my actions? Well, this is a very scary thing. And that's why I help people to face those fears and I guide them through. So they are not alone when they are doing that. But at the end of working with me, they feel a lot more empowered and they feel so strong that they can make their own decision and actually lead the life they want to live. Um, resilience. Resilience is a big word for me. Actually, I have in on my bracelet as well the word resilience. This is just part of me being resilient because it's not about being kicked off, right? Life is going to kick you down. Believe me, when I received my diagnosis in 2016, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, and I was told that I have to be on medication for the rest of my life. And that was a big slap. this. It's like, how do you mean? Me? I never really, first of all, I hate taking medication. I can't swallow it, like physically can't. And then how do you mean my life is going to be depending on that medication? I was like, I couldn't comprehend it for months. And then I decided, no, I need to find a way how to overcome that and how to, yeah, just to make it happen differently. So resilience is not about being all the time on the top of everything. It's about when something, somebody just moves the rug out from you and you find yourself on the floor, you just get, knocked out. The question is how quickly you can recover and how far up can you bounce back up again. It's like having the rubber ball and the crystal ball. And just think about in your life, what are those things in your life that are or can be represented by a rubber ball? And what are those things in your life that are represented by a crystal ball? And what happens, for example, if you drop the crystal ball? If you drop a crystal ball, that's done, gone, right? But if you drop a rubber ball, that will bounce back. It might not bounce back exactly to the same level how it was, but it will come back up to the certain level. And that's a very good start again to go further up again. So what I am doing with my clients is turning most things around. And instead of having all crystal balls in their life, we are turning the crystal balls into rubber balls. We also set goals and we also set some plan how they would achieve those goals. Because my question is like, if you don't have goals, how do you know that you achieve? When are you celebrating? Because celebrating your achievements is it is the most important things, I believe, as well in life. And that's another point, by the way, that it's so difficult to find someone who can genuinely be happy for you, right? Who can genuinely celebrate your achievements. Because there's always a little jealousy, isn't it? Right? So that's another thing. It's great to have a mentor and the coach for who can genuinely be happy for you. What we also been doing with my clients is doing self-awareness, just identifying the strengths, the values, and the passion. And once they know and once they realize what lights them up, what are their strengths? Because let's be honest, like most places and most times, most events, most situation in our life always like encourage us to identify our weaknesses and work on our weaknesses. So my approach is identify your strengths and build on your strengths and outsource those areas that you're not the greatest at. And yeah, see how life is gonna be different. And that's what I help you with and encourage you. Just identify your strengths and just build on strengths. Uh, personal growth is a very interesting topic because most people underestimate the personal growth part. But everything starts in personal growth. Everything starts with, here is my comfort zone, but how I can push, how can I expand the circle of my comfort zone? And I just one example, and obviously it's not or cannot be the route and the journey for everybody, but it just demonstrates, right, for demonstration reasons, that somebody who was never ever considered themselves, first of all, the person can swim, so wouldn't ever considered going into an open water. Never mind it's an ocean or a sea. Like she would never ever consider going to the pool or a lake or anywhere. So that was number one. And number two, second of all, was that she only liked summertime. She would have never ever thought that during the coldness, the winter time, she would be able to go outside in her swimsuit. So long story cut short, what happened was that on one December morning, me and my client met up at the beach, and we had our consultation, our self motivation, and our mindset discussion and session. We had our cacao, and at the end of the session, I told her, "Well, now we are at the beach. I'm going into the water." And she prepared. She was thinking about what if that would happen. So she had her swimsuit with her and a towel. And what happened was that she came into the water with me. She didn't swim and she didn't spend too much time in the water, but she dipped down and she was in the water. So the feeling and the experience, the fact that she was able to do it, just gave her a big motivational boost that her life after that changed so drastically. She opened up to new opportunities in many other avenues in her life. And just fast forwarding a couple of months after that, she found a new job and she found a new life partner, and she's been happily together with that person ever since. So these are just an amazing things that can trigger and initiate other changes in your life, you know. Um, yeah, decision making. So making those decisions that you were afraid of till then, and courageous decisions, but obviously something that makes sense, something that although might take, you know, some level of risk, but at the same time, it's reasonable. It's reasonable risk. It's not like going to the wall. It's like going to the wall, but with a helmet kind of way. And last but not least, when the clients working with me, the feedback I received from them was that no matter what they share with me, and no matter, you know, like what state they are in when they talk to me, they always feel the support. They always feel the intention of the help. And the fact that I motivate them and give them a non-judgmental, compassionate listening and guidance after that, like together with the empowerment, the goal setting, the personal growth, and all the other stuff that I mentioned, it just brings it home, just gives the appropriate wrap, an appropriate blanket where they always feel accepted, loved, and supported. So these are the ways, in a nutshell, how I have helped my clients in the past 2 years, and now I have two more places where I can welcome and I can support two more wonderful people who are ready to transform their life and live the best life in 2024. Um, my program is a 4 month program, and it's available to read all the details on my website. The bottom line is that this program costs €1,795 until the 15th of December. And after that, it will go up to €1,999. And the beautiful thing is, I know this program works. I've seen that. I have witnessed the transformation in front of me. And I know that those people who want the change and they want the lasting change will only be able to experience a better life, a transformed life, if they put the time and energy into it. And money is an energy, one form of energy. So that's one thing that you need to invest into yourself, just to take yourself seriously. And the other thing is the commitment and the time to show up for yourself. I had a client who paid for the coaching, but didn't show up. So if you don't show up, there's nothing what money can buy for you. You need to do the work. The good news is that the support is provided to you by myself. And this 4 month program, and during those 4 months, we meet every other week for an hour, and the first consultation will last even 2 hours. And during those weeks while we are working together, even in between the sessions, I'm providing you a constant support in a different other way, like online meditations, online motivation, mindset coaching as well, and we do group sessions too. So there is a lot of things that is included into this program, and it is absolutely guaranteed based on the previous years that it works. And you will see the difference in your mindset and also in your health and your mental, physical, emotional, spiritual state within 4 months. Um, I know, especially, around this time of the year, money can be tight. So in the next 24 hours only, I'm giving a sale, a flash sale. If you really want to do that, I'm giving you an opportunity to sign up just by paying 999 euros. And this offer ends in 24 hours. So if you really want the change, money shouldn't be an issue. If it's not, please let me know and let's get started. We can schedule our first call for the first week in January, and we can get your life on track to become more calm, confident, content, and courageous. Thank you so much for showing up today. Thank you so much for being here and being interested in how you can change your life, how you can build your confidence. If you have any questions, please reach out. I'm so happy and would be more than happy to give you guidance. And before, so the flash sale expires in 24 hours, but if you are thinking to work with me in another way, just get in touch and we can schedule a free 30 minutes discovery call and we can take it from there as well. All right. Thank you so much again. Have a lovely day and a lovely Christmas time. And I wish you all the well for 2024. Bye.